What is up, guys, and welcome back to Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly, as for you guys' thoughts. Today we're going to be breaking down Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway for UFC 308. You know how we like to do these things if you've watched us before. I like to give you guys keys to victory based off of their film. We go into a deep film study and analysis where I break down their styles. I talk about how their styles will compare based off of their fight footage, and then I give you guys the keys to victory and my official prediction at the end of the video. Now, this is one of the closest fights that we have for the rest of the year. I mean, this is so neck and neck that the prediction could go really either way, just depending on how the fight goes. But based off of their styles, of course, we're gonna pick a winner based off how we think the fight is gonna go. However, before then, we're gonna get into not only their body type analysis, but their film study as well. So guys, thank you for tuning in to the channel and the video. As this video goes along, drop your thoughts and comments down below in the comment section, and of course subscribe to get more videos like this one in the future. On this channel, we drop reactions to fights. We have fight documentaries because I myself fight. We give our UFC predictions and storylines, but then we also break down fights as well. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of background as to this fight and how it's playing out so far. Ilia's been talking mad shit, says that Max showed zero technique in that finish with Gaethje. He kind of discredits Max's style and stuff like that, but it's all oozing confidence on Ilia's side, right? And Max is having fun with it. I don't really think he's in Topuria's head. If you want more about kind of the back and forth between them, go ahead and check out my last video that I just dropped where we got into that a little bit. But going into their body type breakdown, we have Ilia Topuria, who is 15-0. He's 5'7", so he's a little bit shorter for the division. They have the same reach at 69 inches, and then he's gonna have the shorter legs, obviously, like I said, because he's shorter. While Max is 26-7, definitely has the more experience. They're pretty close in age. I believe Max is 32 and Ilia is 28, 29, so pretty close in age. Again, same reach. Max is taller, however Max is more experienced, and these attributes that you can see kind of indicate their style that you see as well, because Ilia is a pressure forward fighter, right? That's what he does. He likes to come forward, he likes to throw big shots, especially with his hands, and then he also likes to wrestle, grapple, and uses jiu-jitsu to also implement finishing sequences in fights. While Max, he can kind of do it all, man. I mean, we've seen Max be able to fight on the front foot, we've seen him fight on the back foot, we've seen him pressure guys and break guys, we've seen him knock guys out like TKZ, and honestly, he seems like the more complete overall striker in this fight, considering how much we've seen of him. He also likes to set up his hands with his kicks and has very good kick awareness, as we saw in the Gaethje fight, which we will go over, and in the Volkanovski fights. And so on the feet, I think he just has more tools in that toolbox. However, on the other side with Ilia, we mentioned his pressure forward style and his grappling, but it isn't just that simple. Part of what allows him to do everything he's able to do is his low, wide stance. He takes a very like boxing wrestler heavy stance, given his Greco-Roman wrestling and jiu-jitsu background. Very educated in the way he approaches the fights. Very good coaching as well beside him. Both these guys really do. And he has very sharp pocket work. What I mean by that is when he is inside, his strikes not only to the head but to the body are devastating, and he's fearless when it comes to that pocket. And that's a scary thing to go against, especially when you're a guy who has taken shots in the past. Even if you roll with most of the shots like Max Holloway does, can you roll with some of these shots, and are these shots going to be ones that you can roll with, or they're going to be hitting you on the side of the ear instead of the jaw, right? Because we know one thing Ilia does have is speed and power. However, there are some questions that we have not had answered yet from Ilia Topuria. One of those questions, which I think Max may have an advantage on, is the kicking range and his awareness of it. How aware is he of different styles of kicks, such as traditional kicks like spinning kicks or close range head kicks? We saw him get caught by a couple of head kicks in that Herbert fight, also in the Youssef Zalal fight. The only holes we've really seen him having striking wise is with the kicks, particularly off of that left side. And then we also don't know how he fights off of the back foot. In the past, we've seen when he does get put on the back foot, he tends to wrestle more, and because he uses that wrestling to kind of counter striking pressure, kind of like how most wrestlers do, he might have neglected learning how to fight off the back foot when all you can do is strike. However, of course, we haven't seen too much because he finishes all his fights and rarely is he ever on the back foot, but that is something to watch for when we get into this fight. Now, going into the film study. By the way, guys, I don't like to take too long on these videos. It'll be about 45 minutes of breaking down footage. I'm not going to watch all of the fights all the way through. However, what I will do is give you a very in-depth analysis. That way you can kind of see what I'm seeing as we watch along these fights, and it'll give you a better picture on who to pick, maybe if you're gambling on this fight, right? Now, I would love to do a Robert Whitaker and Khamzat Chimaev breakdown, but I don't know if we'll have time to drop that this week. However, with all that being said, let's go ahead and get into the film study for this fight. Starting off first with Ilia Topuria, and what we're going to talk about first, Topuria's pressure, but also his ability to use his jab and his draw tactics. Now, they call him the Matador. The Matador doesn't always come forward, even though it seems like he's constantly pressuring people. Let's take a look at how he approaches this Josh Emmett fight, which was a very dominant fight, by the way. Josh Emmett starts off early with a flurry to the head, and Ilia kind of just backs out of range. He's keeping a very high guard, very boxing heavy. You see how his shoulders are raised as well. He's rolling with these shots. He's kind of just making reads, seeing what Josh Emmett has to offer. Josh is doing a good job of using good footwork as well, and here Ilia starts probing with the jab, steps in with that jab, and that's what I'm talking about right there. Not only did he probe with that jab, so here's the first one. He probes, backs out of range, changes it up immediately once he got that reaction. Look again, probes, he sees the parry, the long parry. This is what boxers with good awareness and a lot of experience in boxing do. If you are parrying jabs like this every time, kind of like Francis Ngannou did against Anthony Joshua, they're going to come with the left hook the next time. He sees Emmett do that, and again, he gets the arm outreached by Emmett, looks to throw that left hook. Emmett falls off balance, probably anticipating it, just loses balance, and then Ilia's right back on the jab, getting his head off of the center line. He misses, but right back out of range, using it as a draw tactic. He caught a right hand over his guard, but nothing too hard. He's just feeling Josh's power right now. It's still very early in the fight. And what Josh isn't doing and what Ilia is doing is, because he's able to pressure Josh and his opponent so much, you notice when his opponents start throwing back at him, he backs straight up a lot, and he's able to because he has that room behind him due to having pressured him beforehand. Because Josh pressures him, but instead of getting his back against the cage and forcing him to circle into some shots, he's able to just back straight up. He just countered that jab with a right hand over the top. And another good jab. And there's his first longer combination. Oh, look at that. Look at that. This is why everyone's a fan of Ilia right now. His ability to move in and out of the pocket and throw devastating shots. So look at this. He enters this time. There's a little bit of a clash of heads, but a double jab cross into a left hook, right hook combination, throwing a dangerous combination in the pocket. Eats that jab, pulls it, and starts looking to counter with that right hand. He is an absolute genius when it comes to countering people's jabs. He likes to establish that jab, that way they throw heavy jabs back, and then he'll use a lot of pull counters or slip into the inside of the jab to set up that 2-3-2, which is a right hand, left hand, right hand. That was a good one too. Stayed there too long and ate a left hook. Oh, look at that. That's exactly what I'm talking about right there. He steps in with a jab. He baits this right hand. He rolls with it. Beautiful Philly shell. 2-3 and 2. Bang. God damn. That's pretty to watch, man. That is pretty to watch. And it didn't all land clean or anything, but he's just setting up. He's setting up, he's touching him, which is important early in a fight. And another thing he does very well is going to the body, which we're going to look at some other fights for. But again, he has Josh Emmett moving backward a lot. And you see how he can just back out of range, just like that. Establish the jab. Bang, jab again. Now he's going to jab and pull probably. Keeps feinting it. Jab, pull. Again, these are the draw tactics. Look at this. Now, a lot of people won't recommend the Philly shell for MMA, but when you're going against a guy who mainly uses his hands like Josh Emmett, it's kind of okay as long as you get that shoulder high, which he's doing. It's okay because it's hard to hit you. Very high guard. Again, and once he wins that battle with the jab and he lands his first right hand, you see it in all of his opponents. They're like, what the fuck? And they start backing up. Max isn't everybody else, but that's something to look at. Good 2-3, backs out of range. And you see when he backs up too, he's not switching stances. He's not clumsily backing up. He's backing up and he's ready to strike. 2-3. And when he backs up, boom. Look how wide his stance is. He can throw power back right now if Josh Emmett was able to close the gap. Didn't need to though, so he's back on the prowl. That's a good low kick. Back on that jab. He's fading that jab now. However, one thing you will see is when because he throws with power a lot, he does leave himself open. So like he throws with power, his hands drop, and this is where he's open for kicks, right? In these exchanges, right outside of the pocket, right outside of that boxing range, getting into kicking range. After he throws his combinations, that's where the money kicks are on area. And that's what I'm saying. If there's people like Yair Rodriguez would give him some trouble on the feet. Max, I think, will give him trouble on the feet. But the thing is he doesn't have to strike with these people. He could take them down as well, which we're going to go to after a couple more minutes of watching this. Let's go ahead and fast forward. So midway second round, lands a good right hand. Now he really has his range. As you can see, always establishing that jab. Every time they reset, he gets back to establishing that jab. He's very disciplined. But then when he moves back, look at his feet, already ready to throw back. And you know, a lot of people will suggest hitting people and throwing strikes in order to find your timing. This is something that Ilia does very unique to people, and it's something that a lot of good boxers do that we haven't really been seeing in MMA that much. But look at how he's matching Josh Emmett's body language and his movement. Josh starts moving his head, and look at him. He's matching him. Level change at the same time. Matching him with the feet. Matching him with the head movement. And he knows, because he's matching that timing, he knows when Josh is going to throw, which is why he could get out of the way, and which is why he could counter so well. Again, he's matching his movements, and then he's first. And then he's first. Now he's looking to probe and pull using that draw tactic. Kicks that calf. Back on the jab, and then he commits. And now draw. Oh, man. Oh my God. And there it is. There's the power. 2-3-2 while they're circling away. Josh was circling away when he got hit with that. 2, 3, and 2. He's just very accurate with it, man. Whether you're circling away or circling into it like Volk did, he's very accurate. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, man. That's pretty to watch. All right. Moving on to the next fight. We talked about his kicks, or his kick awareness, should I say. Real quick, so you guys know what I'm talking about, we're gonna go ahead and look at the Herbert fight. So right away, again, he's trying to match his body language, trying to find that timing. He doesn't have to throw many shots in order to find people's timing. Herbert's a taller guy, so he's looking for those knees up the middle, which I wouldn't be surprised if Max looked for. Knees and uppercuts against a shorter opponent. And look, Josh, he's exchanging with him right away. He landed a couple of good left hooks and crosses. Josh's a very good kickboxer too. Boom. Oh my God. There we go. He establishes a good boxing exchange, Jai does. And now Topuria is about to throw heavy, which he does. Throws that cross, pulls it back to his chest, not his chin, and bang, there's the head kick. That's the opening we saw against Josh Emmett as well, right? However, where's his base? Wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Here comes the pace, here comes the pressure, here comes the recovery. Presses him against the cage. Herbert has long legs, so it's very tough to take him down, but he did it anyways. Very good by Topuria. Ends up getting him in a crucifix, and Topuria's jiu-jitsu is extremely legit. I mean, guys, I'm gonna go over it before getting into Max Holloway in a couple other fights, but I don't think people talk about his ground game enough. It's actually really high level. I've heard Gilbert Burns talk about him out wrestling Dagestanis after knocking out 4 of Gilbert Burns' teammates with big gloves, but look at how he's just able to pressure him, stay heavy on the legs so he isn't able to get up, and this is all just IQ because he's recovering from being hurt, right? Still throwing power. Herbert's long. This is a weight class up to at 155. This is Topuria on the back foot. Oh, very dangerous. It's not circling out as much as I would like. He wants to come forward. That head kick kind of cut him off. He blocks. He like halfway blocks these head kicks, and it kind of stuns him to where it's hard for him to throw back afterwards. That's part of the reason why people use head kicks and why Volk was using head kicks against him. Looking for that 2-3-2, but he's not backed up against the cage. It's less effective. There's that knee as he's moving. Alright, moving on to the next round. See how he approached it after being hurt. Back on the jab, circling him right into his power side. Looks like that's what he's trying to do. Moving his head. Now his head movement's looking a lot cleaner. Again, using that jab. Oh, catches him with a right hand. Cuts him off. Looks to go back to leading him into that power side. Gets hit with a long right hand. Oh, he matched him. You see the timing. You see the timing. He's matching him with that timing. Oh, there it is. Bang. Oh my God. You can't. Damn. You really can't get caught against the cage with this guy. Look at this. Again, he's mirroring his footwork. Mirrors his timing. Goes right over that jab. Trying to find a range with it. Boom. Again, mirroring the footwork. Goes to the body and the head and just kills him. Jeez. Have you guys ever seen a dead body? Alright. Moving on, another video to show some of his pocket work and his fearlessness, because that's one of the best things about him. Man, he gets started right away in this fight actually. Against Damon Jackson, ripping the body immediately. Damon's trying to stay in the pocket with him immediately. And as you can see, Billy is very accurate. He just seemed to have his range as soon as he landed to that body. That was a good jab. He jabbed the bicep right there to prevent that right hand. Let's go back. Check this out. So he jabs the face. You see Damon's trying to sit on that right hand. Bang. He jabs. Did you see it? Did you catch it? He jabs that bicep with that shoulder. Boom. And that prevents that right hand from getting over the top. As he commits to a right hand of his own to add on that pressure. Using the draw tactics, using that jab and then backing out. Jab to the body as he evades that right hand, gets hit with a right hand. Now he's backing up. Oh, draws him onto that uppercut. That was nasty. Defends the takedown very well. Blocks the head kick. Uses that uppercut to dig to the body. Again, lands the jab. Oh, very aware of the hands, man. Very aware. You go back up on the toes. And you see Damon is circling away from that right hand, which is why Ilia is finding so much success going to the body. He keeps circling to that left side, which Ilia just rips the body. And again, then a left hook. Damon's circling right now. Oh my God. Yeah, he's just in trouble. And then gets knocked out. Yep. Fearless pocket work. He works the body very well. And another thing he does before we get into his grappling is he walks in. Like, this is the difference between, because we're going to watch the Max Holloway versus Jose Aldo fight, because I think that's a very good representation of what Max could see. But the differences between Aldo and Ilia Topuria is this. It is willing to just walk forward. Jose wants the fight to take place at Muay Thai range, which is kind of in the middle of the ring. He wants to put your back against the cage, that way he can land big shots with the hands. Even though Jose likes to land his hands hard and heavy, he kind of counter-strikes with it without using setups to counter-strike. He's very reactionary based while it creates reactions. by using that jab and backing out of range, right? So first round against Volk, we're not gonna go through all this. Actually, a couple things I wanna show you is also Volk using that left kick to the body. He uses it to the leg multiple times. And then you're gonna see him use it to the head as well. You see he's trying to load it up. And what that inside kick does is it negates people from throwing that right hand. However, Ilia is now attacking that calf. See, he's trying to find the timing for the Volk's jab. Oh, there's that right hand, which Volk catches him with it. Roundhouse to the body, same time. Volk goes southpaw. And one thing I did notice in this fight is that every time Volk went southpaw, Ilia didn't really throw much. Kind of just waits for him to go back to orthodox. That way he could use that jab and try and run him into that right hand. Volk still committing to that kick. Volk's kind of just slapping it up there though. He's not really throwing it with too much power. Just making sure he's worried about it. Which is very smart because every time Ilia wants to throw that right hand, he has to worry about getting hit to the body. And it's right on that liver side too. Oh, but as you can see, he's willing to come in. And if you do throw that kick and you're off balance, best believe his right hand's gonna find that target. So that kind of just goes to show the commitment of Volk to that and his game plan against Ilia, and something we can see Max do. However, last fight we're gonna watch with Ilia Topuria is going to be his fight against Youssef Zalal. Reason we're watching this is because this is his first decision in the UFC, and it wasn't like the Josh Emmett fight. It was much closer. So we see him right away trying to cut off Youssef. Youssef is using very good footwork, something we can see out of Max. Tries that flying knee, which he gets hit with. So he's back on the bike. There's the jab to the body. Jab to the body to overhand right. He's really trying to have to track Youssef down. Youssef's using a lot of good footwork. He's trying to keep that back off the cage. Oh, there's the head kick. There's the head kick, especially from that southpaw stance. I think if Max prioritizes that, which in sparring, I have seen him throwing a lot of head kicks, and he has timed them very well in his fights. We're gonna talk about all this, trust me. Just keep watching. That head kick went right through the glove. It jarred him a little bit. Ilia is now having a hard time tracking him down. Oh, misses two big shots. The takedown was there. He didn't take it though. He'll probably end up taking it next time. He needs to do something to slow him down. This guy's moving all around. And there he goes, double leg. Switches to a single. Back to a double, back to a single. Tries to run the pipe. It's not there. He go high crotch, no. Instead he defends the guillotine. Gets turned around. Looks for an inside trip. Connects his hands. Uh-oh. Gets off the cage and wow, nice Greco-Roman throw. That was beautiful. Let's go back on that. Turns him, keeps that elbow pinched. Almost like a sacrifice throw. I'm sure the dude just didn't expect it. Keeps the momentum going. Beautiful. And now he's on top. Passes right into mount, and this is where Ilia has shown to put on some clinics, man. Earlier in his career, he was much more of a submission artist than a knockout artist, and we see why here. Look at how much pressure he's put on Zalal. Zalal's trying to give his back, but there's so much pressure that he has to even fight to give up his back. Ilia goes to like an arm triangle, but instead of taking the back, instead he hops off and looks for this anaconda choke. It's like an early anaconda setup. He's either looking to look for that anaconda choke or even a retake of the back. Digging that knee in there. From here, what Ilia would have to do is kind of sit onto his right hip right here while having this arm trapped, and he would be able to have the anaconda choke. You'll see it later. From here, he kind of snaps him back down. But he's trying to trap that arm. He traps a leg to get him on his side. He almost has it. Traps that arm with the leg. There he goes. That's it. That's getting deep. Youssef goes to his back, which kind of negates it as Ilia tries to lock it up. Uses the cage very well. It does a good job of getting back on top. He has a few finishes with the head and arm chokes too. Right now he's crunching on a little bit of a guillotine. He's trying to get back to that anaconda. Boom. There's the guillotine. All he has to do is figure four those arms and it's an anaconda choke. Youssef is doing a good job walking the cage though. Oh, this is so tight. Man, if he figured fours right now, which he does, oh man. That is tight. Now, I do think he made a mistake right here. It depends how aware in the fight you are of the cage, but if he scoots his head more towards the cage to try and nullify how much space this guy has to walk the cage, I think this would have been sunk in, man. He's trying to like turn him onto his side, which is good. I think turn him onto his side and then get that to the cage, but he's using the cage very well to walk over. And so then Ilia just ends up on top, but back to the back. And you see how he's just putting him in these sequences, man. Very dangerous. Looks for a unorthodox type of back tape slash takedown, and then he's back. But look at the pace, the pressure that he put on him that round. We get to the next round. Ilia, Zalal shoots. Ilia stuffs it. Wow, Zalal's insistent on getting that takedown. Great takedown defense from Ilia. I'm gonna go ahead and fast forward here. Probably a bad idea from Zalal to try and re-grapple with him. I don't know what he felt in that exchange, but Ilia was all over him when they were grappling. And now Zalal's tired. And Ilia, ooh, he's right up on him. Went to the body right there. Stuffed. Oh, again, hooks. Zalal's winded. His arms are heavy from having grappled that much. Can't hold him up that high. Oh, barely misses with that knee as Ilia shoots a double, traps the legs. Oh, this is beautiful. And this is one of the things he needs to do against Max, man. If he can get Max down a couple of times, look at the pressure he keeps on the legs. If he can get Max down 1 to 2 times, I think it could be his fight, man, because we've been seeing a common theme lately. Takedowns change the fight. They change it, man. They change the striking exchanges with Islam and Dustin. They change the exchanges with Umar and Sandhagen. I mean, hell, Marab and Sean's striking exchanges look different too because of the takedowns, especially when a guy's constantly trying to finish you. Look at the sequence he's putting them in. There's a Dar's guillotine and elbow set up here, crunching on that guillotine a bit. He really likes those head and arm chokes. He has a triangle here, but I don't think he's gonna take it. Instead, he's gonna abandon it and look to get back on top. Look, he's already ahead in the exchanges too. He's just all over him, man. If you train jiu-jitsu, you know that this is a sequence. So this is kind of what I wanted to show you. He did the same thing in the third round to where he was all over him jiu-jitsu wise and grappling wise, but Zalal is a really good fighter. He actually just got re-signed by the UFC earlier this year, and I think he actually got a win since then. But Zalal's very good. One of the only ones to take Ilia to decision, and in that, still dominated him in all the grappling exchanges. Now we get into Ilia Topuria's keys to victory. In order to win this fight, Ilia Topuria, I think his first key to victory is gonna be to add up on his long combinations. Ilia starts off, like you just saw, with a bunch of jabs, maybe some low kicks, but jabs, and then he's making his reads. Jabs, making his reads, trying to find that timing. The shots he should add up on for his combinations are a lot of left hooks, obviously that long cross or overhand that he likes to throw, and then dig into the body as well. So jabs, left hooks, and crosses, high, low, those are what he needs to add up on the long combinations, as well as the low kicks as well, because Max, he circles left a lot of the time. That's why you're throwing those left hooks, to try and cut him off with the left hooks. We saw him get hurt with Aldo. We're gonna watch that fight actually, but constantly circling left. And then he also, when he backs up with a very high up posture, which is why that body's gonna be there. And then also the left circling has that liver shot there. But then the low kicks, because Max doesn't really check many low kicks. Gaethje had success, Volkanovski had success. I think it can have success. Though that's his first key to victory, adding up on the long combinations, establishing that jab. That way he can add up on those combinations. Second key to victory for Ilia Topuria in order to win this fight is to add up on the pressure, man. And the way he's going to do that is not only using the jabs, which we just talked about in the previous key to victory, but also using the clinch and the dirty boxing. Being able to smother a lot of Max's strikes with not only the jab, but like I said, the clinch, and getting him thinking about the takedowns, pressuring him against the cage. All of that is going to be necessary, because when was the last time Max fought a wrestler who was going to do that to him? Really? When did you have to see Max grapple against the cage for extensive periods of time? It could change the fight right there, and it could force Max to be on the back foot and going backwards, which is exactly what Ilia wants. Number 3, his third and final key to victory in order for Ilia to win this fight is to mix in the takedowns. If he can get this fight to the ground 2 or more times, I think Ilia Topuria wins this fight. Because again, like we just mentioned before, the takedowns change the striking, and what takedowns also do is negate people from throwing so many kicks. 1, because they cost a lot of energy, and then 2, because in order to avoid the takedowns, you got to be moving up on the feet, so you don't really have a lot of time to throw kicks and a lot of room to throw kicks. You're mainly focused on the hands if you're trying to avoid the takedowns or avoid the back of the cage as well, which is hard for people to throw kicks against him unless it's like right outside of that combination or that pocket like we showed earlier. So those are my keys to victory for Ilia Topuria in order to win this fight. Let me know what you think he has to do in order to win this fight in the comments down below. But let's move on to Max Holloway, his style based off his past fights and his keys to victory. So first fight we're gonna watch of Max Holloway is gonna be his fight against Volkanovski. I think this one's important because Volkanovski's a shorter guy, Ilia is a shorter guy. Now Volk does tend to fight on the back foot a lot, but some of the same shots are there. The head kicks he lands, we get to see how he likes to set up his head kicks. We also get to see his usage of the uppercut, which both will be great to put Ilia on the back foot, but just getting to see a lot of his kicks is very useful because that's one thing we haven't seen from Ilia, his awareness of a lot of the kicking range. So they're making a lot of reads right now. Max is really only seeing inside low kick from Volk. This is the second fight, by the way. Max isn't really pressuring him too much. He's kind of just probing and backing up, poking at him, backing up. He's trying to get Volk to come into him. Fakes that push kick. There's another push kick. Low kick. But you see how he's trying to pull Volk into things, right? Throws his low kick and immediately expects Volk to come in, tries to counter him with a check hook. Max is very good about knowing when to sit down. Oh, looks for that uppercut right there. That was a good cheap. He's looking for a lot of things up the middle. Boom. Oh, there's the first head kick. Boom. Sets it up with a left hook. Just a slapping left hook. Volk smiles. Volk just landed that jab. And you can see Max is constantly circling to the left side. He's not circling to that right side very much, even given all the inside leg kicks Volk is throwing. He lands that jab. Lands that left hook. There's a left hook from Volk that lands because Max again is circling to that left side, staying away from that power side. Volk is staying on those low kicks. Another teep. Now he's trying to cut him off. 1-1-2. Oh, staggers him. That was a good hard round kick to the body. Looks for a knee. Can't really find it, so he jabs and moves out of the way. And this is one example of Max, how he likes to set up his hands with his kicks. Volk does a side kick to his knee. He fakes the same thing into a 3, then gets back out. But you'll see him a lot. He'll jump in with that side kick just to get him going backwards, especially when they're closer to the cage, and then he'll use his hands. Another round kick to the body, shadowing that jab, trying to get Volk to commit on something. Oh, good spin kick to the body. And bang, there's the head kick. Wow, that one goes right over the top of his guard. Spin kick to the body first, and then bang. Oh, right over that lead hand. Bam, that was a beautiful setup. Then we get to the next round. There's that side kick from Max. Teeps, just throwing things up the middle, getting him to circle and keep going backwards, looking for that uppercut. Those low kicks are still there. Max has a lot more of a patient pressure than Ilia Topuria. This isn't necessarily two pressure fighters going at it. Max looks for that double kick, goes into a T. Volk is a little busted up right now. That's 3 inside kicks in a row for Max. That was a good jab from Volk. Yeah, very patient. They're both being very patient in this one. Max keeping him honest with that jab. Volk just doesn't want to come forward and commit. Max throws that lead high kick, low kick again. He's tearing up the inside of that leg right now. Ooh, lands that knee to the body. That was good timing. Looks for that head kick again. Volk also was susceptible to a head kick from that side as well. I wonder if Max would have had more success with these head kicks if he went southpaw instead of orthodox. He does switch, but he only switches momentarily. He doesn't really stay in southpaw at all. Here he goes. He throws that roundhouse again, fakes it to a right hand. Very good about setting up his hands with his kicks. Like I said, we've seen Max fight on the front foot, we've seen him fight on the back foot. Again, throws it to the head. He hasn't been setting them up as well as he did in the last round. Oh, there's a Superman punch to a head kick. That landed. That was a good setup. Damn, let's go back on that. So looking at him, Superman punch, just a quick one. 1-2, and then head kick. Barely grazed Volkanovski, but still did damage. There's that spin kick that lands on the chest. Oh, and there's the uppercut, getting him coming forward. Volk tries to enter with the jab, doesn't even see that uppercut, and another one drops him. So there's an example of Max setting up not only his uppercuts, but getting someone to come in to range. Like, he wanted Volkanovski that whole time to come into range, and that's why you saw him probing and baiting him, but not committing too much other than his long range weapons, which was that inside kick, both low and high. But next we're gonna watch his fight with Aldo, and one thing I want you to see in this fight is not only where he's exiting and his patience while probing, but also the fact that he's unemotional. He seems emotional when he's fighting their ego, you know, he's taunting them, telling them come on and whatever, but he's not a get back fighter. Like, if you hit him, he doesn't have to get you back right away, which is kind of what Ilia likes to fight. When he was fighting Josh Emmett, he would hit him, and then Josh would come with these big overhands to where he would counter him, right? We saw that. That's not the type of fighter Max is. He's very intelligent, he doesn't get emotional, and he's very good about what he's setting up. He starts off hard with a body jab, and as you can see, in this fight with Aldo, while he is boxing heavy at this point in his career, he still likes the low kicks as well. But see how more upright he is rather than Ilia's forward posture, and he's not really coming forward. He wants to keep it in the middle, while Ilia wants to get you back against the cage or circle out. Again, we see this. Aldo parries that jab. What does Max do next? Left hook, but Aldo's protected. Both have great boxing. Aldo lands that nice right hand to the body. And then Max lands that left hand off the break. Oh, that was a good left hook. Oh man, 2 good left hooks. Check this out. Max is circling left after parrying, and Aldo sees it, who also has great boxing. Boom, clocks him right through his glove. Oh, right hand, left hook. And then a knee. Max was 2 inches shorter. That would have been a knockout. But that right cross left hook combination landed beautifully on Max. And we know even if you're circling away from Ilia's right hand, he can still land it. Almost Conor McGregor-esque with that. But Aldo's kind of abandoning the jab right now. He isn't just sticking it out there, putting it in his face. He isn't trying to pull him onto any shots. He's okay just sitting there and having a Muay Thai fight. Saw him land that low kick. You see him just waiting. This isn't what Ilia does, man. He'll be moving. He's moving, constantly trying to set something up rather than just reacting like Jose is. How does Max deal with it? Well, he's gonna pressure him with feints. And man, he's so good about knowing when to commit too. Like, he'll probe like that, but he also knows when other people are probing, which is why he doesn't get emotional. And he knows when people want to sit down, which is why he has this good sense of pocket fighting as well. There it is. He knows when there's a fight about to occur. It's in and out right there. Much less kick heavy in this one though. This was very early though. This is 7 years ago that he had this fight. But even 7 years ago, he was still very educated about the way he was doing things. Damn, Max has been in this game for a while. Right, so we saw him circling left into Jose's shots. However, we're in the second round now. Jose's back on the jab. Ooh, long cross from Max lands. Now Jose's starting to implement more head movement, trying to look to counter that jab. But there, oh man, there's that 1-2 pull 1-2. He knew when Jose was gonna sit on his punches. He saw Jose trying to counter that jab. He throws it, gets out of the way, follows up with a 1-2, hits him. He does this later as well to end up finishing Jose. Beautiful. This dude's not afraid to scrap either. Oh, see, he knew Jose was gonna get down and dirty, and he stood through with him. Back on the jab, pulling him, trying to draw him in. 1-2, and then gets out of range, counters back. Very high level IQ from Max. Oh, then there's the timed kick. Man, right when Jose's reaction time is so good, but right when Jose started using head movement, starts bobbing, tries to set up that head kick. He points the knee too. I think that actually lands, man. That landed. That knee landed. God. But Jose's head movement is so good. Like, even look at this. Jab, uppercut, misses. Rolls with that right hook. God, Jose's head movement is just exquisite, man. God, nasty stuff. Let's move forward though. Now he's gonna fight Jose's pride. 3-2. 1 to a body kick. exchanges with him, slaps him. And Jose was throwing a lot in those exchanges. Now we get into this third round. 1-2 angle out switch 2. My God, that was a good combination. So check this out. Parries that jab, 1-2, okay. He has a read that Jose wants to stay in. 1-1-2, switch stance into a check right hook. Since Jose is still in that pocket. Max's pocket work is good as well, man. He might get hit more than Ilia, but it's because he throws numbers rather than looking for those big shots. Oh, 1-2, slip 1-2, or pull 1-2 rather. And then his ground and pound is just nasty. This is a good job keeping Jose down too. Controlling him, staying heavy on the legs. Max doesn't have bad jiu-jitsu either, man. He has good jiu-jitsu. Can he sub Bryce Mitchell after out wrestling him? I don't think so. But the way he was able to control Jose Aldo like this, even though Jose was hurt and was kind of escaping everything, yeah, he was very hurt in this one. Yeah, and ends up finishing him with ground and pound. We know how that one ended out. But now getting into Max's last fight against Justin Gaethje. And also, we have to keep in mind, before this fight, everyone was counting him out. Everyone thought Gaethje was going to win. They said, oh, Gaethje has too much power. It's a weight class up. We saw the last time Max moved to lightweight. Meanwhile, Max and his coaches game planned perfectly for Justin. Stayed on the outside as we watched this fight and set up some beautiful kicks. And then the knockout was what it was. We all saw that. Oh, but there we go with the lead high kick again. Just looking to keep him honest, keep that right hand at bay. Keep it occupied, looking for that uppercut. Also looking to stomp on that lead knee to negate some of the early pressure, which I think is very important going against Ilia. Oh, nice 3-2. He lands the first right hand. Beautiful. Look at that good footwork. Beautiful footwork from Max. How many people is Gaethje able to cut off or pressure all the way? Gaethje has good footwork himself. Max was just a step ahead in this fight. Gaethje kind of slips on that monster logo. Last 7 seconds. Max lands a teep. Side kick to the knee. Oh, and then a spin kick that lands right to the nose and sends him across the octagon. Oh yeah, that's the one that broke it. Yep, damn. That's what I'm talking about, man. Look at the range of this kick, man. This is not a range that you're used to getting hit by kicks by. He lands a side kick, switches, feints the jab. He notices Gaethje likes to dip and throw, and boom. Oh, right across the nose, finishes to the body, nasty kick. So I'm saying, man, Ilia has to be careful of those kicks on the inside. They get very tricky in there and they're hard to see. And it's things you don't see that knock you out. Now Max is attacking the body a bit with that teep. Everyone remembers the knockout, but they forget how dominant Max was in this fight, man. Like how his footwork was looking, how he was just probing at him. Ooh. Staying honest, jabs, just tapping that calf, trying to attack that nose. Good spear jab, round kick to the body. Look at how many kicks he's throwing compared to his hands against Justin Gaethje. Gets another guy who is very powerful with the hands, right? Was a very good jab, right? Was very good boxing exchanges and likes to be on the inside, right? This is a very similar game plan we could see against Ilia. I don't think he's just going to stand there and try and bang. I think that'd be very stupid. And he said it multiple times. I think he's going to look to really probe. You see how he just takes a backward step? It's okay. That's fine. I don't have to pressure you. Get your back against the cage. I know that's what you're waiting for. I'm just going to step back, keeping that lead leg light to be able to check kicks and also teep him at. Very good. Very good. Look how he's controlling the range, ready to check. Max was on his shit this fight. Oh. That was a nice elbow attempt from Max. And did he get him again? He sure did with the thumb. Fuck, that sucks. Now it's a good 3 to the body. Look at that footwork, early footwork. Not getting caught against the cage, moving, measuring, using his kicks to set up his hands. He's not really putting much on his kicks. He's trying to just get him back fast. That way he can set up his hands. He's waiting for Gaethje to try and close the distance on his kicks. Oh, then a nice 2-1 spear jab. Oh, that one hurt. That was a good oblique to the Gaethje's lead knee. Good inside kick to the body. Again, he's throwing so many kicks, so many jabs, that it makes Gaethje hesitant to just cross that void. And as soon as he does, boom. Hits him with something hard. Now he's back on the bike. Oh, that was a good left hook by Gaethje. Oh, good 3-2 from Max. And then another spin as Gaethje ducks. You see these head kicks? You see these kicks, man? Boom. And then an uppercut left hook. Oh, man. And his hands are so fast, man. His hands are very fast. You could tell he's been working that uppercut into his combinations all fight camp. Now, alright, that concludes the last fight for Max Holloway. So, going into Max Holloway's keys to victory, in order to win this fight against Ilia Topuria, oh man, this is such a tough fight to pick. But as far as his keys to victory, I think that his first key to victory has to be the low kicks. I think going inside of the leg like we saw him do against Volk, attacking the calf if he decides to go outside, considering Ilia's very wide and low stance, but also using the straight line kicks like the obliques, the side kicks to the knees, even throwing teeps in there to the body. I think all of that would help to occupy the range and space in front of him and Ilia Topuria, to occupy that void area, as well as damaging his lead leg, which would help with the grappling, which would help with Ilia's constant forward pressure and make him more hesitant, kind of like you saw Gaethje in this fight. Using those low line kicks, everything we just named, in order to disrupt Ilia's balance and his pressure is almost imperative. As far as Max Holloway's second key to victory in order to win this fight, I think he has to use feints in order to create openings. Once he's landed a few good shots, start using those feints, because he's very stingy with his guard. He will keep that high guard and he'll barely move with it. He'll move the rest of his body, but he's going to keep his hands sharp, make sure everything is getting back to his face. And you kind of have to open him up a little bit in order to see where your openings may be, because other than that, it's just like a shell. He has a very good shell, and it's hard to create those openings if you don't hit him with something and if you aren't constantly using feints. So create feints in order, or use feints in order to create openings, is another important key to victory for Max Holloway. And for his third and final key to victory, I think he has to put Ilia on the back foot, man. I think that'll not only help with his takedown defense, maybe force him into shots, but using his jab, using his uppercuts, as we saw, because Ilia also dips his head and he's a shorter guy as well. All of that will help to back Ilia up. And once you get someone going backwards, that's where you have your head kicks. That's where you have those setups. That's where you are forcing people into takedowns instead of having your back against the cage trying to deny all of that. You know, those are the kind of openings it creates if you could get Ilia on the back foot. And also, it puts Ilia in unfamiliar territory. When have we seen Ilia on the back foot? Not very much. He was there a little bit with Youssef, and actually Zalal was having a bit of success on the feet every time he was on the back foot. But that's where you're gonna get him to start using his wrestling, using that energy. If we even go back to the Zalal fight, let's actually go back, because y'all didn't get to see that. That was when I was watching it myself. But we go to this third round, right? And Zalal, of course, is trying to grapple him for whatever reason, but you could tell how fatigued Ilia is, and he's on the back foot. He uses that Philly shell a lot, man, and that's not good going against a guy who's gonna throw kicks. We saw Zalal land a few head kicks earlier, but his wrestling is good. Zalal jumps on a guillotine right there. That's just not there. Ends up letting that go. Ilia's on top. Ilia stays heavy on him, gets his back, almost chokes him out. Zalal gets on top. He escapes. He gets up. But going backwards, you can see how fatigued he is. He's bouncing off the cage. That's not good. Right? Zalal's almost helping him out by grappling with him. And there's the head kick. He only blocks it with his hand. That's not good, right? Look, boom. He blocks it with his hand. Had that been shin, that could have been lights out, man. We saw Poirier get knocked out with that, right? Back against the cage. He's almost bouncing off of it to try and find his timing. That was good head movement right there. This is what I was talking about, though. He also knows that he's probably won this fight. Oh, bounces off the cage again into a double leg, tries to take the back, switches to a double again, looks to trip the leg back into a double. He's gonna ride that one out. But yeah, you see what I mean. Off the back foot, it's a bit unfamiliar, right? So that's Max's 3 keys to victory that he needs to do in order to win this fight. And now going into my official prediction, man, oh man, you know, I think we're all fans of Max Holloway. I think we are. A lot of us are becoming fans of Ilia Topuria. Some of us don't like him because he's very brash, and for some reason people don't like super confident people. They'd rather see the humble side, right? But I think that regardless of who we like more, man, I think if Ilia Topuria can get him down, like I said, twice, I think it changes the entire fight. I think it puts him on the back foot. Not to say Max isn't good off the back foot, but eventually his back will be on the cage. Eventually, Ilia's gonna find that range, and if he can't slow him down with the takedowns, I'd be very surprised. But I think that if Max is using that footwork early on, like you saw in the Zalal fight, he'll probably try and grapple. And once he's grappling, once he's putting you in these sequences, he's actually matured a lot since that Zalal fight. If you go back and watch the Bryce Mitchell fight, oh man, it was position over submission, and he strangled the fuck out of Bryce Mitchell after beating him up pretty bad. He's constantly trying to do damage, and we haven't seen Max go against anyone who's really gonna try and out wrestle him like that. I believe Topuria has the ability to, but I also think that what it does is, even if Max defends them, even if Max gets up to his feet, one, the cardio is now different. Two, he's less likely to be throwing so many kicks because of the energy. He's less likely to be throwing kicks because he doesn't want them caught. It creates more of a boxing exchange. And if you're constantly going backwards out of fear of the takedowns, and you're not using your kicks, and you're forced to throw with Ilia, eventually you're going to get caught against the cage, and I can see him putting his lights out. Now keep in mind, if this fight only takes place on the feet, I do think Max has more tools. I think he has more variety, and I think that he can mix him up with the kicking range as well. I think he's the overall better striker, but as far as the dominance and where this fight is gonna take place, I think Ilia has control over that with his wrestling background, right? Which is what makes me believe that he'll control where the fight's taking place, and that he's gonna be the one who's gonna win this fight. However, like I said, it's close. Put your money where your mouth is. Let me know who you guys think is gonna win in the comment section down below. And with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and let me know what breakdowns of fighters you want to see in the future. Go ahead and check out my Rodriguez Du Plessis breakdown. I think I did a good job on that one. I already have a few options. Alex Pereira's style and his system, Marab's system, and I'm thinking maybe a Ilia Topuria or Max Holloway system. Let me know who you guys want to see. I'm going to be creating a membership to my channel very soon. That way you guys can go ahead and have that exclusive content, especially if you're an upcoming fighter. However, with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.